behind closed doors. I'm a fool for your love.
Hi guys, another Geek123 here. So since the Joker is one of the most characters with a mysterious origin story, today I'm going to go through 13 different origin stories that were given to this character. So let's get into it. So since there were many tales how this character came to be, we have two origins that tend to repeat a lot. The most famous is the chemical bath from a failed heist, but this version of the chemical bath is very interesting and has to do with the Red Hood gang. The leader of this gang at the time was a mastermind who wears a red domed shaped helmet on his head. As the gangs rob a chemical plant, Batman interrupts them. Red Hood tries to run away while the gang fights and trips into a chemical vat. The vat has a pipe that leads into the river, and that's where he gets washed up from. This is where he finds himself with white skin, red lips, green hair and a permanent smile. This mastermind went insane from this and decided to abandon the crew, go solo and call himself the Joker. This one is from The Killing Joke. Before this story, most of Joker's origins just shown that Joker was always a criminal before an accident, but this one's different. This story follows the story of an engineer who quit being a engineer at Gotham Chemical Plant so he could follow his dream to become a comedian. It doesn't work out as he tries his best and no one is interested. But since his wife is pregnant and he is running out of money, he goes to a low rent criminal gang, and they want him to help him get into the chemical plant he used to work at. To cover his identity while they break in, he had to wear a red helmet referring to the Red Hood gang origin. But before the day came, the comedian's wife dies, and he tries to get out of his agreement, but the gang still forces him to go along with the plan. But this ends up going back to the Red Hood origin. When the scared man goes into the chemical plant, Batman catches them, but this time Batman assumes that the comedian is the leader, even though he is not, and the comedian ends up in the chemicals like Red Hood. This time the comedian sees his reflection and goes insane slowly and becomes the Joker. This origin is called Aunt Eunice. This time there's no gang, no factory. This time the Joker's origin is from his childhood. We see that he was raised by his psychopath Aunt Eunice. Both of them live in a run-down apartment, and the starred boy has no friends, so he holds onto a purple stuffed animal. But one day his aunt takes away the stuffed animal from him, saying how dirty he is because he doesn't have a washed face, which is actually her fault for not taking care of him properly. She cleans his face the same way that she washed her now dead husband's face, with a scrub blush and bleach. This is how his skin turned white. This also makes his mental state even go worse, showing how much of an effect his hand had on him. And eventually we'll learn this boy was the Joker and his first victim was his aunt, where he broke down and killed her. Now the Batman's movie from the 80s. Joker's origin, more specifically Jack's origin. Jack is a mobster who killed Bruce Wayne's parents, and years later when Batman comes back for revenge, he ends up dropping Jack into chemicals, turning the mobster even more evil, wanting revenge on the Batman. This story ends up making Batman and the Joker even closer, which fans could not think were even possible. This time it's a story he told Harley Quinn. We know he tells many people different origins to create a mystery, but this time we're looking at the one that seems pretty believable because he told it to his somewhat love of his life. He said he spent his childhood being abused by his father. His rare happiness was when the father took him to the fair, and he said he would notice his father laughing at the clowns. He eventually said his father turned him into a mad psychopath, and he killed him, and that is where he got his clown persona from. Many fans believe this was a lie, but now who knows, maybe one of his lies is actually real, and this could be one of them. This origin is quite brilliant. It seems that the Joker was once a slick mob boss, making major plans and successful money. It seems that the criminal might have been caught in Gotham and lost everything, and maybe he turned it into a mad clown to get his revenge, and he's just smart this whole time. This one is very strange. People always think that he is immortal from surviving lots of death experiences. This one is very out there. It seems that ever since Gotham was a thing, there was always a white thing around, and then it stopped being spotted after the Joker first appeared. People think Joker was the Pale Man. It just thought that Joker is an immortal alien that takes on a human form, just to toy with Batman, since Batman is now Gotham's guardian. This origin is from Joker's origin in the Batman the Animated Series. The clues to this origin are similar to the Red Hood origin, but this time it looked like he was a hitman that fell into the chemicals and had a similar experience to him and made him into even more of a psychopath. This one's trippy. Joker actually might be Bruce Wayne's long-lost brother, Thomas Wayne Jr. Thomas Wayne Jr. was known as a dead firstborn son, but people think he's actually stolen as a baby. Then his family thought he was dead after the police couldn't find him after so long. This explains why the Joker has no fingerprints on file since he was kidnapped as a baby. People think that Batman knows this subconsciously, but he won't face it that people rarely want to see him realise his biggest enemy could be his long-lost brother. This one is from The Dark Knight. The thoughts on how he did become the Joker and get them scars in this film was that there were actually two examples. One is where he had a wife who had an accident and he cuts his face to show her he doesn't care about the scars on her face. The other is that his dad did it to him when he had dark thoughts from drinking. Seems that the father one might be the origin because in the movie he lashes out a guy who reminded him of his father. This origin is in the Lovers and Mad Men storyline. It shows a man named Jack who was a famous bank robber and he became bored from being so good at it. Eventually shows that Jack and his gang make him run on Millbank heist until Batman interrupts, but Jack still gets away and puts a pin on the dead guard, thanking Batman for making his day. Jack becomes even more a madman, beginning to do bigger and bigger heists, just to get Batman's attention. But when they do meet again, Batman chucks a batarang and it splits Jack's mouth open. Eventually, Jack gets the idea of the Joker and jumps himself into a chemical bath to always toy with the Batman. This one is simple, but not simple at the same time. It's from the Further Adventures of the Joker, which shows a story from his childhood once again. This again shows he has an abusive father, but this time it's because the father actually wants the family to be the perfect, happy family that they usually see in 60s TV shows, saying that they should be tidier and more smiley. This also shows that behind his dad back, the young boy would kill animals and birds and keep them in the box, showing he had killing tendencies ever since he was a young kid. It again shows that the boy became more of a psychopath as he got older. Eventually he actually took the box of dead birds and animals as a teen and set the house on fire, killing his parents, and he ran away and became the Joker. Now for the last one. It's from Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader. It's not in part of the continuity now, but it still could be true as it was written as a final story for the Batman story. When friends and foes come to talk about Bruce Wayne at his funeral, it all seemed like it was just a thing going through Batman's life, thanking thanking the fans and the writers about all the happy and adventurous stories in this whole continuity. But then it got weird when the microphone was turned on to Alfred, because everyone thought he was just gonna talk about simple stopping villains or fun times with his friend, because Alfred was his famous butler after all. But he actually talks about how desperate Bruce was when he first took on being a vigilante. Then Alfred says he actually indeed paid his friends to play and act as goons to take on Bruce, to boost Bruce's confidence. But then while he slowly talks about the story, he puts on white face paint and red lipstick as he tells the story, to show him that the crazy enemy Bruce had all along was the killer guy that helped him take down his enemy's plans. And this shocks the audience and the friends and foes in the audience. So guys, these were 13 different origins of the Joker. Let me down below which is your favourite, and if you have even more origins of this mysterious character. Yes, not all of these origins are actually the origin of the Joker, just fun ideas or alternate things about this character, because honestly, the mysterious origin of the Joker makes the Joker even better. But if I had to choose which were my favourites, it is probably the one where he's a criminal, and when he first sees Batman, he just wants to toy with him forever because he has nothing to fear. And then the final one we talked about, where Alfred is actually the enemy. And I quite like the Thomas Wayne Jr. one as well. But again, let me down your thoughts. If you want to talk even more about anything Joker-wise, go over to my Twitter, respond to my most recent tweet about this video, and we can start talking about that as well. So thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Hold up.